There are so many anime underrated visual novels because of the fact that, you know, it has novel in the name and most of the time people don't think that's a game, right? The thing about visual novels is that they have a lot of dialogue, but they can be just as engaging and just as interesting as other games. And if you're someone who is really into watching anime, often enough a lot of visual novels get adapted into anime. Many of you know Doki Doki Literature Club, but how many of you know Sucker for Love? I know that any major Markiplier fan has definitely seen his episode on Sucker for Love when he played through the demo, but if you haven't seen anything on Sucker for Love, I definitely go see it. It's basically a dating sim where you are dating different cryptids and, what are they called? Cosmic horrors. So you're dating different cosmic horrors from, specifically inspired by the works of, what's his name? H.P. Lovecraft. So if you like horror and you love romance, it's such a weird combination and I love it. And if you like something like Doki Doki Literature Club, you're definitely going to like Sucker for Love. No doubts about it. Your Turn to Die did come out before Danganronpa. The only reason why it didn't get as popular as Danganronpa is because of the fact that it didn't have an English translation for it. And so it wasn't released to a Western audience and didn't blow up the way that Danganronpa did. But that doesn't mean that it's any less amazing. Often enough, you can see a lot of similarities between the two. For example, some character dynamics, the whole weird investigating scene where they're having like the trials are very similar to the design choices in Your Turn to Die. Maybe even it was copied. But you know what? They're both great games, so who cares, right? Cooking companions. Personally, I haven't really gone past the demo, but the demo is available on Steam. If you haven't heard of Cooking Companions, please go and play Cooking Companions. It's not really like an anime game per se, but it is like kind of. Like, it's definitely inspired by anime visual novels. And it's a horror game where you play as like these people in a cabin. And it's definitely inspired by some form of Ukrainian folklore where there's these characters and there's kind of like this dark entity that's like causing a lot of weird stuff to happen, and I feel like the main character is an unreliable narrator considering the fact that the things that the main character might have done. But if you are really into horror, go check it out. The Nonary games! Oh my god, this is genuinely one of my favorite visual novel games ever. I'm pretty sure that the people who worked on the Nonary games are the same people who worked on Steins Gate, so if you love Steins Gate, you're gonna love the Nonary games. It's so cool because it's like this escape the room, kind of like a death game, except in the first game, it's not too scary. I would say that definitely the second game is it has more of a shock factor along with the third game, but the first game's very beginner level. The Nonary games, what happens is that you follow this main character, Junpei, and he escapes rooms, and everyone's just trying to survive together. There is so much more than just the main linear story. The main story is connected to so many other different routes, because you can have multiple endings, you can see multiple endings with different characters. It's so interesting. And if you're one of those people who love grinding one game and seeing the different lore aspects, and you love different endings, the Nonary games, the Nonary games, the Nonary games! Please play the Nonary games. I have no one in my life who's willingly played the Nonary games and just discovered it on their own. The game My Boyfriend gained a lot of popularity when the demo came out, but sadly if you want to play all of the game, you have to subscribe to the creator's Patreon. It's a really interesting game where it kind of follows a Yandere partner, except this time it's a male character, which is not commonly seen. Normally Yandere characters when they're the main love interests, are normally females, so it's really interesting to see the reverse. I wouldn't really consider this like an anime game, but it's definitely a visual novel, and it's definitely inspired by anime dating sims. So horror dating sim is a very common combination, but I love that combination when it comes to visual novels, and I hope that you do too. I would definitely consider Needy Streamer Overload a visual novel. This is because of the fact that it's laid out in a way where there's a lot of dialogue, and the best thing about Needy Streamer Overload is that there's so many different endings and there's so many different achievements. And I recommend this game for people who are really interested in a game that breaks down how a complicated character deals with mental health. This game is about basically someone trying to make it big as a streamer, and the only thing is that they're constantly struggling with mental health issues, and you get to take care of them and make sure that they're, you know, mentally great, also gaining subscribers. And it's just a really cool experience, especially as someone personally who would be really interested in streaming in the future. It's so interesting seeing someone else do it, and it's kind of inspiring. If you are a little sensitive with, you know, graphic things that are like blood and mental health stuff, and you're not in the best place, I don't really think that this is the game for you. It's one of those games that if you want to relate to it, or if you want to sympathize with the character or empathize with the character, you have to be in the right headspace to play it, but I do think that it is a really interesting game, and I love it. I love the characters. I really want to cosplay Ame-chan or their internet persona, but I really have to save money, but oh my god, I really want to cosplay that character. Hopefully I found something that you haven't heard of, and hopefully it inspired you to play one of these games, especially the nunnery games. I really love the nunnery games. On my channel, I like to talk a lot about my personal favorites and talk about a lot of different anime, manga, especially cosplay. I am a cosplayer, so if that's something that you seem interested in, please subscribe to my channel. And hopefully you decide to pick up one of these games so then I could rant about it in the comments, because oh my god, I love these games to death. So thank you for watching, and stay weird. You're still here? How's life? Yeah, I'm doing okay.